Happy Monday.
Good morning. Welcome to Hot Topics.
New week, new everything. Let's go. Hey, what's going on? You're frozen. That's not good. It's not good. We're having some internet issues today. Just letting you know, because she's frozen. I don't know what you see on your end, but I see. Hopefully, maybe she'll leave and come back. Maybe she's trying to figure out her internet. But happy Monday! It's raining here. It was a crazy weekend. We were very busy this weekend. We'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in a sec when she comes back. Nothing like doing a show with somebody and then having them leave on you. But that's okay. So happy Monday. She's back. Let's see how this goes. Welcome back.
So, I'm always complaining because here's the deal with everyone staying at home. Our internet provider, who I don't like, we have no choice. Our internet provider, you can mark the time exactly on a dime when it's going to fail, because that's when everyone jumps on to go to school and go to work.
Yep.
So at this time of the day, it pretty much kicks you out and you have to reboot all the time. So it's on a daily basis. I can't completely blame them. On one hand, the system wasn't set up for, everyone to be home.
All of this, right? Yeah.
But it's been over a year.
Upgrade your system, people.
So I can't really. What am I going to say? Anyway, what did I miss? How are you?
Well, you go. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that we're all good.
Over a year. There's echoes and everything happening, right?
Yeah, echoes and yeah. It's Monday. I really don't feel that the internet world likes Mondays.
I think you're right, because I think everyone gets all excited on Mondays and jumps on at the exact same time, right? They're like, I'm going to work hard this week. I'm going to get everything done. Yeah. Tuesdays are probably better.
And I also just think the internet goes, nah, I don't feel like working today because it's Monday. And I feel like the internet is still on weekend mode.
I think you're right.
And then it goes, oh, wait a minute, I have to wake up.
It's true. It's true. So how was your weekend? I know you worked hard.
My weekend was a lot of this. Paint the fence. Paint the car. Wash the car. Not wash the car. Paint the fence. Yeah. Paint the wall. Paint the ceiling. Paint the doors. And I've discovered that painting door frames is not my favorite.
No, that's my least favorite as well. It's the part that you drip on and make a mess.
But it's okay. I only made one major hiccup, which was yesterday morning that I did not tell you, but it's all cleaned up now. I was literally, I was painting, had my little bucket, I was painting. Then I bent over, and all the paint from the bucket went on the floor, onto the carpet. Big bottle of paint.
All
good. You can't even notice. If you get it right away and you clean it up right away, you're good.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that you're screwed.
Nope, not screwed at all. I was shocked. I figured it out. I was like Googling. I'm like soaking it up. I've got water. I'm soaking it up. I've got towels. People bringing me stuff.
Probably some of that carpet in there probably looked better with the paint.
This is true. It did look a little better. So yes, again, so this weekend up at Fay's cottage and the farm without Fay. So that was interesting. But I think the most interesting piece with the whole painting. So I had 1, 2, three, four, five. At one point, we had seven, including me, people painting this one space. But what I found fascinating by the whole experience, because I'm not a painter, I will not quit my day job. We all know that. I'm not going to quit day, night.
Yeah.
Not a good painter. But what I found really interesting was all of a sudden people are like, okay, I'm done this particular room, or I'm done this particular job, mini job, or whatever. Stacy, what should I do next? Well, how did I get in charge? What should you do now? I am not a painter. I've never ran a painting crew. I don't know what the best strategy is in regards to attacking it, but I knew what needed to be done.
Yes.
So then I was able to go, oh, okay, well, the next priority is this. Why don't you go and help this person finish up that? Or why don't you start on this space or whatever? So all of a sudden, I became the leader of the group. I became the leader of the job, even though, so then I realized that you don't need to know exactly how to do the skill in order to lead people through a project.
Agreed.
Which was very interesting.
Someone has to be in charge. That's all it takes.
Everything. Exactly. And somebody needs to know what, sort of what needs to be done. And I knew what needed to be done.
What the ultimate goal is. What's the ultimate goal? If somebody has that vision, then the worker bees can paint.
Little bit of complaining from the little worker bees, but that's okay. So I did. But I also realized that on Sunday morning, it's Sunday. I get it. Like they're like, but it's Sunday. I don't want to paint on a Sunday. So I'm like, okay, well, I had two choices. So I could either do my cheerleader, let's go paint. Let's go paint. I was like trying to get all energetic and pump them up. That was not working, by the way. Like they wanted no part of it.
I bet.
However, and I sent Fay a note, I'm like, I'm just a lonely girl living in a painting world. And but I was up there painting by myself. So that's when you start to realize that if you do something by yourself, they'll follow through. They're like, well, we can't leave her up there by herself. Like painting like that's mean. So I learned a lot this weekend in regards to how to almost be that leader. I know we didn't really mean to sort of talk about leadership, but we can on a Monday. Mm-hmm. Why not? Yeah. So again, I could have, been that cheerleader, like rah, rah, let's go, and try to pump them up. But what I realized, and that we've read a lot of books on leadership. We've done a lot of talks and stuff like that. Lead by example, right? Like they will follow. So I grab my paint and, they're off, they're doing something else. But I'm like, no, like I'm going to sit here. I'm going to work. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to be that leader by example. I can't, cheer them on if I'm not doing the work as well. So I dug my heels in. I grabbed my paint bucket. May have spilled a little paint along the way, but that's okay.
Well, there is a flip side to your leadership tale, though, Stacy. Because on occasion, if you say, "I'm just going to do it, lead by example, and they will follow," sometimes they look at you and go, "Great, she's got it. I don't need to help."
Well, the good thing is I knew my crew. Well, I knew one person in the crew that would not do that.
Right.
We did have a couple of teenagers that absolutely would have gone, yes, she's doing it. I'm off to the beach.
Yeah.
But I did have one that I was relying on and it worked. And I was literally like this going, come on, my plan needs to work. My plan needs to work. And sure enough, he came up, our farmer, Jeff, and he came upstairs and he goes, okay, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, can you get some paint trays? Can you get some of the buckets? I need you to do this and you to do that. And I was able, and it was like, okay, it worked. Like, but you need to know, and that's, you need to know who you're working with, and you need to know what kind of tactics will work. But I felt like I needed to be in the trenches with them. I'm not going to be able to just tell them what to do. And I was going to sit back and drink my water. I was grabbing a paint bucket. I had paint over me. We all did it together. And that was the biggest thing. I just thought it was really funny when they're like, well, what do you want me to do next? And I'm like, paint.
Well, I think that, and like most people are willing to work hard if you give them direction. Right. And the challenge is, and my biggest leadership issue over the years has been I always assume people, sorry, I hate to say this, but are smarter than than I think than they really are, right? I always give them the benefit of the doubt. I know it sounds awful, but it's true. So, and it's shame on me for thinking that, because the truth is most people don't want to think that hard. They want to just follow directions. And once you give them a direction, they're great. They work hard, they'll do it. But if you just don't give them a direction, they have no idea what to do, right?
Well, there's different types of people, and you need all different types. Absolutely. There's people who you can say, go paint, and they'll grab a brush. They may not do it perfectly, but they'll dive right in. And then there's people who are very task-oriented people, right? Where it's, I need you to do this task. So I need you to paint the closet, or I need you to paint the corners, or I need you and once they're done that task, they then go, okay, I'm done this task. What's my next task? Versus, I just look at the whole thing. I knew it needed to be done. It's like, okay, I'll just do this next because I know that
that's the truth. That's most kids, right? I mean, that's how they learn. You have to give them, that's why you read directions. That's why things give you instructions. Right. You follow along, you get it done. And then after that, you learn. So, you instructed a lot of people, and then next time you won't have to instruct as much. You'll be able to say, you know what to do, go and do it. And they would get it. So it's interesting when, but yeah, I kept saying to you that if you weren't there, it would have been probably, it wouldn't have got accomplished. Let's put it this way. What you accomplished would not have happened because there was nobody saying do it. Because if you have a choice to, I'm going to go paint, or I'm going to go outside and do something fun, you're gonna pick to do something fun. I would too, right?
But what I also learned was the following day. So we did most of the job on Saturday, and then we did a smaller job on Sunday. But what I realized was I could have switched up tasks. Absolutely. Because you rolled yesterday. Why don't you cut today? Or you did this. Why don't you do that? But I said, no, like I literally, all I had to do was I need you to do exactly what you did yesterday. Because on Saturday we primed, and then on Sunday we painted.
Well,
so it's like you did this on Saturday. I need you to do this on Sunday. He goes, so the same thing. I'm like, the same thing, except with paint this time, not primer. And that was a whole other.
Well, it's like anything. You get better the more you do something. So yeah. So I mean, I like when I was terrible. I don't like to paint, but I did it because I had no choice. And the first time I was messy and I wasn't, but like by the second and third time, I wasn't even taping at the bottom. I was just like hand free because I wasn't dripping. I got it because I had learned, right? And, that's in anything, the more you do it, just like doing these lives or whatever, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So, I mean, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, but exactly. And I guess the thing is that, what you're good at. So I'm a little bit better at cutting and edging and that kind of stuff rather than rolling. So I knew where my strength was. Could I roll? Yes. Can I? Absolutely. It's not my favorite thing to do, but somebody else was like, oh, I would much rather do that. So everyone does have their strengths. And I think if you're looking at a bigger project, learn the small piece first, then learn the next one, then learn the next one versus that overwhelm. I think that's where, again, it becomes very overwhelming because we had a large space, plus we had multiple bedrooms and kitchen and bathroom. We were painting, and it became very overwhelming. But if I could get them to focus on just the bedroom, like all you're going to do is paint the corners of this bedroom, and then it was like, oh, okay, I can do this one piece as opposed to thinking that this is one piece in a bigger project. So there's a lot of learning that came out of this weekend, even though we were painting. Trying to figure out what motivates. And then they're like, can we take a break? No break. That was a big no break. Just paint. I was ruling with an iron fist.
That's good though. That's how it takes sometimes, right?
But I wasn't taking breaks. Like they never saw me take a break, right? So I kept going and going. The only time I took a break was if I was going to get a bottle of water. Like that was it. So
well, I mean, I guess the moral of the story really is you need to have a goal, and you had a goal, and you said it out loud to me before you started on Sunday. You said, I want the bedrooms done so that you can come up on the weekend and set the beds up, right? That was your primary goal. So if you know you have a goal, it's a lot easier to accomplish it rather than, oh, maybe you can go paint this and I can paint this. So it was like, no, we're doing this damn room. Even if there's 10 in the room, we're doing the damn room, and then we're moving to the next. And that's really makes a massive difference in getting things done, right?
Well, it also helped them motivate because then they could see the end. They were like, okay, this bedroom is done. It's like we could go check, right? Then we moved to the next one. And then we were all in the third one sort of towards the end because it was like, okay, we all had a goal. We knew what the goal was. They knew what the end result was. And if they just buckled down and did it and worked together, we could all get it done. So yeah, it was interesting. You're right. The goal was definitely the motivator.
I assume that there won't be any volunteers next weekend.
We might be on our own next weekend. Not so sure that they're coming back right away.
Which is good. So while Stacy was doing that, I was actually doing a couple of other things. Number one was, I think, I'm always big picture, right? And like I paint, I do all that stuff. I do the details, but in my brain, one thing connects to another. So when we're talking about one thing, if a slight decision changes, then my whole plan changes, and I carry it in my brain as I go along. And so it is not any different between if I'm, doing something in design work or I'm doing something in design work in terms of a digital product. It's the same thing. So it was interesting because like all weekend, as I made choices on if I want to change a floor, then the knob changes, the lights change, like everything changes. Is kind of a moving thing. Whereas a lot of people's brain doesn't work that way. And they just say, well, I already picked the light. Now I'll go pick something else. But I see it all together. So, I was bugging everyone for 2 days. Give me your opinions. Give me opinions. Crickets. No, except for you. No, as Stacy understood, she's worked with me long enough. So she was like moving the floor and taking pictures for me in different lights because I wasn't there. And so nobody got it. So, after 2 days, when I made the calls, bought the knobs, did everything, then I get the call that says, oh, well, let's talk about, this choice. And I'm like, hang on here. 2 days have gone by with crickets. So it's interesting. Sometimes you got to think about, do you want people involved in your choice, or do you just make your decision and move on? And I think that's the challenge that you have to keep in mind when you're making any decisions. You have to know if you are a big picture person, if you understand how things interact and relate to each other, or you're not. There's nothing wrong with not being it, because generally when you're not, you're very, very good at that finite piece you're working on, right? Whereas I'm not so good at that. Like I'm not really good at like the tiny little detail. Like I'll say, I want this. I don't know how it's going to get done, but this is what I want, because in the big picture, it works. So it was really interesting because it's a different, last weekend I was physically exhausted from doing all the painting and everything. But I got to tell you, this weekend I was more mentally exhausted because my brain was having to make all these decisions and changes and stuff. And it affects you differently than it does the physical. But it's an interesting dynamic. So you have to really, say to yourself, what kind of person am I? Do I want input? Do I want people to help me make a decision, or am I good and I trust my own instincts and I'm going to make it? You have to figure that out on your own, because otherwise, you get into a lot of problems, right?
But that's what makes you a good business strategist, right? Like you see that big picture and you see all the pieces that need to go into this to make this thing happen. And I know you've said to me many times when people have come to you, you already kind of see it all together. Like I remember, I don't know who I was talking to yesterday. I just kind of said, do you see her vision? Because I'm not that person. Mm-hmm. I'm not the big vision person.
But you make things happen. That's why the strategy happen.
Exactly. So that's why she's the strategist and I'm the producer. So it was perfect, right? You can see the big picture. I can't. But I understand what the vision is. And that's where, the person who's implementing, like I was over the weekend, needs to understand the vision, which is why, sales and operations always need to, they always need to communicate. They need to understand what that vision is so that they can make it happen. So I knew what the vision is. I held tight to that vision. I got some pushback on the vision, but I was able to make the vision happen even though I didn't necessarily, I understood it, but I can't visualize it because I don't have that skill to be able to see it. I'm starting to see it, but you also have to trust in the vision. So that's why you can see the bigger picture. But you're right. One small hiccup in the cog.
Yeah, one change
impacts everything.
It's like dominoes, right? And I think that's what people, need to, when people are doing design, regardless of whether it's physical design, interior design, or you're designing something, in your workplace, in your business. Like, Stacy knows when we go to do like a new page, landing page, digital product, whatever, I can't just I can't just go plop, write some stuff and leave it. It takes me a couple of days to go, okay, what do I think this is supposed to look like? And then I start, once I get it, then I'm gone. But again, if anyone changes anything in it, then I'm like, oh shit, I got to think about it and I got to change everything. So I think it's an important lesson for people to understand that, when you're making choices, you need to understand that it affects everything else that you choose to do. So it's not a silo. In most instances, it's not a silo. So, like I said, I was just telling you before we got on, I was like, okay, I thought we had the floor down. So I ordered, so like the floor is based on the light in the place, right? So floors look different in different lights. So depending, you can't make a choice in a store. You have to actually bring the sample in. So when you do it, so I thought we'd made that call, ordered knobs for the freshly painted cabinets and stuff. And so if you change it, my vision will change. So all of a sudden it will be, no, the black hardware is not okay. If I change this to a natural floor, I have to change now the hardware to like a polished nickel or something. In my brain, I see it all and I'm like, whoa, like that's why you have to really understand one change. And that's why I harp on people when I say, what do you want to do? Like when I'm talking to some of the people that I coach, what is it? Because what's the most frustrating for me is when I work with somebody for 5 or 6 months and then someone who has nothing, has no knowledge really about business, or it's just a friend or random, someone gives them a suggestion, which is completely opposite of everything we've been building towards. And I try to explain to them, if you change now, if you make that minor change now, you must change everything we've worked on in the last 6 months. That's why people need to, understand that if you're going to stick with something, stick with it, do it, complete it, go to the end. And then if you want to make changes after, okay, that's a different story. But, you have to be careful when one person changes, and you've probably had it in, with your podcast, some people come to you and they want you to produce their podcast. And then the next week they've changed their podcast, like a totally different direction. And you try to tell them it doesn't make sense.
No, you can't. And that's the thing, is that when you have a plan and you have a vision and you have a roadmap, you follow it through. But again, understanding that when you get to step 6 and then you go, oh, wait a minute, you kind of have to go back to the beginning. So for example, I'll have, I can't remember one, but we had to change the music in the intro. Like the intro was done. I like that part. I have a lot of fun setting up podcasts and putting them all together and stuff like that. But then they'll go, oh, I just need to re-record the intro or the outro because something has changed, their website. Again, everything connects to everything else and all of your different business stuff. So it's like they changed it and all of a sudden it was like, but now you're speaking differently. You have a whole different vibe with the way that you're bringing it across. And now that changes the music. That changes the intro. That changes, again, it backs it all the way up.
It changes what you're doing on social media, right? It changes what you're doing on social media. It changes how you're presenting yourself on a website. It changes how you're going to be a guest. I mean, everything changes. When you think it's a one little minor thing, it isn't, right? So if you change, so we're talking about, we were talking about the design at the farm. If you change from a white to a yellow or from a white to a dark brown, everything changes in the design, from the color of the pendant lights to the color of the cabinets to the color of the knobs to everything changes. And so when you're thinking about it, think about it in your business too. So if I said all of a sudden, if I walk into your house and your house is yellow and all of a sudden I say, okay, I want you to paint it gray. Well, everything's going to look different, right? Your furniture is going to look different, everything, because there's a different tone. So
Right.
think about it in your business too. There's going to be a different tone to your business if you just change one thing. And you have to be cognizant of those changes in everything, your business and your life, and make sure that, you make that right decision. And if you don't know, if you're stuck and you don't know, don't make the decision yet. Right.
And also understand that if you do change that one thing, just understand that it does change the tone and the vibe, and you may have to kind of go backwards a little bit in order to move forward. And that's okay, as long as you go in eyes wide
It's
open,
fine.
all good. But just know that,
It's
90%
going to delay.
way through the process is not the time to go, oh, but can I just change it to, from green to yellow? Or can I just change it from like orange to black? Well, no.
No. So, I mean, it means that you're going to have to repackage the stuff you ordered and send it back. That's basically what you're doing, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So it was a lot of learning this weekend, a lot of stuff around design and getting things done and implemented. However, with all the things that we learn, no matter what we're doing, we always relate it back to business, your brand, so that you can continue to grow. So happy Monday. Have a great week. We're very excited. We have our first networking power hour starting at 10 o'clock this morning. So we're excited about that. We're actually using a new platform to run this networking event. So I'm really excited. I'm really hoping that technology holds true and will hold up, and we'll be able to do. That's one thing we didn't have to worry about when we're doing in-person networking. We could just show up. We didn't have to worry about technology, but that's okay. We're going to hope that it goes. Today at noon, we're talking about Twitter. We've referenced Twitter a lot on Hot Topics about how we look at it and why we follow it. So today we're going to talk about how Twitter works and how you can jump on that platform, because it's not one that's widely used. What else do we have going on this week?
Oh, we have a lot. A mastermind dinner is on Friday, which is really exciting.
New York, baby.
We're going to New York. So you guys still have time to join us. Just go to mastermind.city and go to the community, or you can just go to mastermindcitycommunity.com. Either way, you can find out all there is to know, and you'll join us for the dinner. You'll get the recipe guide. It's a really easy one this week. You'll be able to join us, have some fun, sit down, and like we're live and in person.
Exactly. All right. We will see you then.